Trading with the Divine, the story of Uncle Ahmed and the sheep merchant. A journey of faith and unexpected rewards. The narrator of the story begins. Uncle Ahmed was an elderly man of simple means. He held no formal academic degrees and possessed no steady employment. His sole source of income was a reputation built over decades among sheep merchants. He was renowned for his vast, intuitive expertise in livestock. He could discern with a single glance which sheep were prime for consumption and which were best suited for breeding. Armed with this profound knowledge, he would earn perhaps $50 one day, 100 the next, and sometimes he would face the losses inherent in trade. In this humble manner, he provided for himself and his children until they reached adulthood. When his children grew up, secured stable careers, and their financial circumstances flourished, they approached him with a plea, "Father, it is time to cease this tireless buying and selling. We shall provide you with a car and a private driver, and we will take full responsibility for all your expenses. Rest now from the exhaustion of the marketplace and spend your days in comfort among your friends." Thus, they fulfilled their promise, and Uncle Ahmed began spending his time in the majlis, the traditional assembly of elders, where he and his companions would gather to share stories and wisdom. On one such occasion, a young man named Abdulaziz sat with him and remarked, "Uncle Ahmed, you possess a wealth of experience from your years in the market. Surely, you must have encountered situations that remain etched in your memory." Uncle Ahmed smiled and replied, "Indeed, there is one particular incident I shall never forget." Abdulaziz leaned in, intrigued. "Tell me, Uncle Ahmed, what happened?" Uncle Ahmed began his tale. "I remember a year when I possessed $5,000. It was my entire capital, the sum of my life's work. I would take this amount to the market daily to trade. Sometimes I would buy a sheep or two and sell them for a modest profit of $10 or $20. Other times, I would purchase 10 or 20 head of livestock and not leave the market until I had sold them all, earning $50 or $100. On rare, blessed days, my daily profit would exceed $300. Upon leaving the market, I would meticulously count my funds, setting aside anything above my initial $5,000 to cover my household expenses." Occasionally, Uncle Ahmed continued, people would approach me saying, "We require 10 or 20 sheep of a specific quality." I would purchase the animals for them, charging a commission of $10 per head. They benefited from my expertise, obtaining high-quality livestock at prices they could never secure themselves, for they lacked the seasoned eye I had developed over a lifetime. One morning, Uncle Ahmed recalled, "I arrived at the market before the dawn prayer, wandering through the stalls to inspect the livestock before the day's trading commenced. After we performed the far prayer together, I entered the heart of the market and saw a man with about 20 sheep. Their quality was exceptional, and I purchased them immediately for $100 per head. Shortly after, a buyer approached me and offered a profit of $10 per sheep. Thus, I earned $200 in a mere hour. I continued trading throughout the morning, buying one sheep and selling it for a gain, then another. The market was vibrant that day, and my reputation served me well, for everyone sought to buy from me, knowing I only selected the finest stock." By midday, Uncle Ahmed said, "I stepped away to a quiet corner to count my earnings. I found that I had already made a profit of $400. I praised God fervently, thinking that if I had made this much by noon, having earned 300 in the entirety of the previous day, I was truly blessed." As I returned to the bustle of the market, I encountered an elderly man we knew as Ibrahim. He was moving from merchant to merchant, speaking briefly and then turning away with a heavy heart. Eventually, he approached me and asked, "Do you have $300 you do not want?" I was taken aback and asked, "What?" He repeated, "Do you have $300 you do not need?" Uncle Ahmed reflected. I said to myself that he was not asking for a loan to repay later. He was asking for the money as an outright gift. I thought, I will give him the $300 and consider that I have only earned $100 this day, seeking nothing but the pleasure of God. I handed him the sum. The man then asked for my name. I replied, "I will not tell you my name, I have given you this for the sake of God alone." He took the money, and I watched him speak to another man, gesturing toward me. I realized he was asking the other person who I was, and since everyone in the market knew Uncle Ahmed, my identity was easily revealed. Then he disappeared into the crowd. "I eventually forgot the entire matter," Uncle Ahmed said. "I continued my trading and earned an additional $200, leaving the market that day with $300 in profit, not counting the sum I had given to Ibrahim. 2 months passed. One day, while I was busy in the market, I felt someone pull at my hand. I turned to see Ibrahim, the very man to whom I had given the money. I thought to myself, he must be in need of more assistance. I asked, "What do you need?" He replied, "Come with me, I need you." I told him I was busy, but he insisted, "Come with me, man, I must speak with you." I walked with him, Uncle Ahmed continued, and he held my hand until we were far from the noise of the market. When we reached a secluded spot, he pulled out a thick bundle of cash and thrust it into my hands, saying, "This money is your rightful due." I was stunned. "How can this be mine?" I asked. Ibrahim replied, "Yes, this is your right, and you deserve even more." I protested, "I deserve nothing, and I will not take it." Ibrahim then said, "Do you remember the day I took $300 from you 2 months ago? On that day, I had found a merchant selling 100 sheep of extraordinary quality for $100 per head. I did not have the full amount. I was short by exactly $300. The seller refused to wait, and there was another buyer standing there with full cash, ready to take the deal if I failed." Ibrahim continued, "I told the seller I would bring the money immediately, though I had no cash in my car, no access to my bank account, and I knew no one in this market because I am a trader from a distant region. I searched for someone to lend me the money, but everyone refused. I then said to myself, I will look for a man who will give me $300 without expecting anything in return, and I shall consider him my silent partner, entitled to half the profits of this deal. I had asked 6 men before you, and all had turned me away. This sum I give you now, Ahmed, is $7,000. It is exactly half of the profit I made from selling those sheep. May God bless your wealth." Uncle Ahmed concluded. I tried to refuse, but Ibrahim swore by God that I must take it, saying, "This is the least you deserve, Ahmed, for I know that when you gave me that money, you expected nothing and did not even consider it a debt. Therefore, this wealth is yours by right." I took the money and praised God for the sustenance that came from where I never expected. Lessons and insights derived from the story. Sincerity in acts of kindness. Uncle Ahmed gave the money, seeking the face of God, without any expectation of a return. This is the secret of divine blessing and the miraculous compensation that follows. Kindness protects against calamity, relieving Ibrahim's distress in a moment of desperate need returned to Uncle Ahmed as a bounty he could never have imagined. Integrity and fulfilling the vow. Ibrahim was a man of supreme integrity. Although Uncle Ahmed had set no conditions, Ibrahim insisted on honoring him as a full partner in the profit. Blessed sustenance. Halal. Uncle Ahmed's lifelong experience and his honesty in dealings caused God to provide for him from sources he could not perceive. The virtue of charity. The story confirms the spiritual truth that charity does not decrease wealth. Rather, it causes it to grow and flourish. God compensated Uncle Ahmed more than 23 times the amount he spent. Relieving the burdens of others. He who relieves a fellow believer of a hardship in this world, God will relieve him of a hardship on the day of resurrection, as well as providing for him in this life. If you enjoyed the story, support us by liking and subscribing to the channel to see more.